I am right now at my listing at Thistle Blossom here in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. We have been active and have continued to show property. However, there's always going to be one buyer for a property at any given time. So I wanted to go ahead and make this video, kind of treat some questions and issues that the market in general have been having, and in hopes that it helps you decide. And while I talk, I will go ahead and show you the property, and you can listen as you also view it at the same time. Now, this home shows beautifully, much more than the pictures that you see. The price is right. Now, for buyers who feel they just started looking and want to see more of what's out there, I will tell you what I tell my buyer clients. Be prepared that you may find the right property the first time you start looking. It is a blessing, and not so much, because there's always that feeling that if this property is good, there must be more out there that are better. It's not always the case though. Finding the right home does not always go in that sequence. Sometimes you start off with the perfect home and then you miss out on it because, well, you got it somewhere in your head that you had to kiss a few frogs before finding the right one. Now, to the buyer who wonders about the location, I will tell you that this home is located in Upper Marlboro. The community is beautiful. Travel to DC is about 45 minutes. To BWR Airport from here, it's a little less than an hour. Now, if you're commuting to Annapolis, you can expect your travel time to be about 45 minutes. I'll also tell you something else that I tell my buyer clients. Be prepared that you must identify your needs and your wants in a home. The locations typically fall in the needs category for most. Sometimes though, you will find the absolute dream home in a location that kind of makes your commute crazy. Well, the fact is you have to make that tough decision whether you love that home enough to adjust your travel time. You're buying a home that brings you joy, not a cardboard paper. I can tell you this because I found my perfect home and I bought it all the while thinking and calling myself crazy because it upended my commute. Now, my travel dynamic may be different from someone who does a regular 9 to 5 and commutes to a specific location. However, I will argue that it's even better for you if that's the case, because what you have to decide is whether you're ready to make that adjustment in commute for a home that you absolutely love. Now, this applies to whether it's this home or any other home for that matter. When it comes to commute, something's got to give, because you cannot lift the property physically and relocate it to another. To the buyer who thinks there is a bubble and is uncertain whether buying a home now means they spend more on a home that will cost half as much in a minute. Seriously, that is not going to happen. There is no bubble, so there won't be no busting happening. Fact still remains that supply and demand is a factor that still applies to real estate, and currently we have low supply compared to demand, and we're still not building enough new homes to balance out for that demand. The better factor that affects you right now is what I like to call the people are saying factor. There's so much talk about the impending crash that buyers are getting crippled with concern, and in fact some secretly wish there will be a crash so they can afford a better home than they can afford right now. I'm not judging. I can tell you what I tell my buyer clients. It's about you, not everyone else. A lot of people parrot what other people say. Some make assumptions, and if they made that assumption, then it must be right. Some make predictions, close their eyes tightly shut, and wish it comes true, so they sound smart. Now, in all this drama, a few people actually look at data and fact. You cannot argue with data, and data shows that the crash that happened in 2008 was inevitable based on the streets and directionals that led to the crash. However, the current situation is not the same. I'd like to talk more about this, but this is not the video for it. So, if you find the right home for you, if you can afford that home, if your interest rate is good, and sorry, you cannot get 2.5% interest rate, that ship sailed. If you're not an investor who's looking to turn around and sell that property for a profit, If all these boxes check for you, then you need to stop waiting for a crash and buy a home that you fall in love with. So, my dear Thistle Blossom buyer, you need to come and get your home. Call your agent, and if you don't have one, call the number that's on the screen right now and ask to view this property so you can write an offer. I look forward to meeting you.